You, Co-Chair McGovern, and thank you very much, all the witnesses. It is alarming and disheartening that the CCP is working to restrict religious freedom and trying to eradicate entire cultures. The CCP is separating children from their parents, home, and communities that I can really think of. This is one more outrageous example of racism and troubling human rights violation at the hands of the CCP. Having said that, Miss Ladon Teton, if I pronounce it wrong, I'm sorry, but you mentioned that private schools run by monasteries and Tibetan communities have been shut down by CCP. We already heard that Mr. Togochak for recommendations of what United States Congress has to do, but what can global leaders to do stop this violation? I try to let people, whole world know during the Olympic that what China has been doing, but I didn't get any responses from any corporate sponsors Olympic that they've been spending billions of dollars. So could you tell us that what global leaders has to do stop this violation?
Yeah, I think the key is, and we can see this happening more and more, but is for like-minded governments, global leaders to work together and to coordinate strategies and approaches in a way that really targets, like for example, in the case of sanctions, I think this whole area, unlike say targeting military or security people, officials, the area of education policy just seems it's such a different target. But there are Chinese academics and education policy experts who are working to, they're conceptualizing and they're operationalizing these programs that are separating, nearly 1 million Tibetan children from their parents, and that are essentially threatening that, an entire generation of Tibetans and those that come from now on will not speak Tibetan. So they're designing these genocidal policies and overseeing them, and they should be targeted, I think, for sanctions and other things. And governments can coordinate, I believe, to do that in a way that perhaps the security officials and the top officials aren't so concerned about their international reputation or their travel or whatever, but academics do. I mean, that's so much of what it's about is reputation and your international's credibility. And I think this group of people who are really playing key roles in all of this, the rollout and the separation of very young children from their families, they play a key role. And if we want to sort of change behavior and send a very clear message, I think they should absolutely be targeted with sanctions.
Very essential. Thank you very much. So parents, not the CCP, have the right to choose how their child will be educated. That's what we are practicing here. We try to. Why is the CCP so threatened by having a diverse community? Mr. Tetang, Ms. Tetang, sorry.
Because I think the key is difference, that because Tibetans are not Chinese, because Uyghurs are not Chinese, Southern Mongolians, we have our distinct histories, our distinct national histories. This is about wiping out resistance to Chinese Communist Party rule. And all of the efforts of the Chinese Communist Party in Tibet over 70 years have failed. All of the violence, you think of their economic, their political, their military power and might, and somehow Tibetans are still resisting, and a whole new generation of Tibetans that has no memory of a free Tibet is still fighting. And that's because who we are at our core is not Chinese. And when Tibetans are being taught only about Chinese history and culture in this intense nationalistic curriculum, they know that they're not reflected there. Maybe it takes the littler kids some time to figure that out, but in the end, Tibetans know they're not Chinese. And when they leave these schools or when they go out into the world, they face such incredible racism and discrimination that their instinct, of course, is to turn inward and to ask questions about who they are and where is Tibet in all of this. And so I think this is about wiping out resistance to Chinese Communist Party rule in places where the Chinese, you know, party rules with a colonial occupation, you know, that the Chinese government has taken over by force and maintains control by force. And parents' influence needs to be, I guess they believe, broken. You know, these children, if they're removed from their parents, their families, and their communities, if they can forget who they are, maybe that resistance will end. And I think they're sadly mistaken.
Thank you very much. And for Mr. Abduali Arab, my both parents fled from North Korea communism during Korean War. So, I've been hearing so much about the communists. And now I am proud American immigrant who is living her American dream. I speak Korean and Japanese as my first and second, and English is my third. It is important to embrace diversity and respect other cultures. I speak common greetings to my constituents and friends on a daily basis. Why is the CCP creating new language restrictions and engaging in religious persecution? What are they afraid of?
Um, I think it's mainly because of Uyghur keep protecting their language, especially like after July 5th, we have a demonstration in 2009, July 5th. And after the demonstration, there is a like a mass arrest happened, and then thousands of people got arrested. And after that, Chinese government a little bit changed the policy and like gave some economical benefit to the people. But at the time, I witnessed what happened, and the Uyghur language, like for example, Uyghur books flourished, and the Uyghur like films flourished, and like if like Uyghur poetry sold very well after this economic benefit, like Uyghur not shrinked. Instead of that, Uyghur increased the power because of the after the economical development, and people like realized to take that language alive, keep that language, and they like use money to support it. And when I got my like mother language kindergarten, like investment is already enough. I have enough investment, and I have enough support. At that time, we have like we started our campaign online. We have 500,000 followers online to support us. So I think the main reason is because of this power, because of this power of identity, power of culture. They're afraid of this.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.